from NetHope, and I'm here today with my colleague Monica. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Esther. Hi, everyone. Monica Alip here from NetHope as well. Happy to see you all.
And today I'm replacing my colleague Stephanie C. Unfortunately, she's had some visa issues, so she's not able to make it our Director of Digital Programs, but she's planned this session, so thank you, Stephanie, for doing that for us. And today we're going to be talking about beyond bandwidth, and the title of this session is very intentional. The aim of the session is to think about the fact that our discussions on connectivity have gone beyond the technical. And now connectivity has become far more of a political issue, a social and economic issue as well, and that there's so much more to it. It's something that's it's something that our organizations need to be thinking about across their organizations and not just limited to the IT department. And of course, we know that across, within our work that we do, responding to emergencies, delivering our development work, connectivity is increasingly absolutely critical to everything that we deliver. Whether from the needs assessment right through to the donor reporting, everything relies on us having good internet access. And likewise, for the people that we're working to support, for them, it's critical to have internet access to keep in touch with their colleagues, keep in touch with their communities even, and to be able to access the information that they need to start to rebuild their lives. So connectivity is really becoming kind of aid in itself. It's not just kind of an enabler of aid, it is the aid as well. And so I'm going to move over to the, shall I move straight to the agenda? So today what we're going to do is we're going to have a really interactive session, which is going to draw on your own experience in the room. So it's definitely going to be your session as much as ours. I think we've got about 45 minutes overall. We're going to do a bit of a group reflection exercise, which Monica's going to lead. And then we're going to do a gallery walk focusing in on some of the different issues that we come across when we're talking about connectivity, whether it be political issues or issues to do with our dependency on certain vendors, which I won't name. And so we're going to definitely be learning from each other during this session, and then Monica's going to pull things together at the end. I wanted to share just as background a couple of interesting stats, which is that as of last year, there are still 2.2 million people offline globally. And also that actually 2024 was set a record in terms of the number of internet shutdowns, politically motivated internet shutdowns that happened across the globe. 2025 then beat that record as well. And as we're seeing that lots of connectivity services are increasingly provided by private providers, we're also seeing that those satellite connectivity providers are being increasingly attacked as well. We've seen some of the first instances of those in 2025 too. So there's definitely a lot more to think about when it comes to connectivity than the mere technical details. And I'm going to hand over to Monica, who's going to talk us through our first group reflection exercise.
All right, thank you, Esther. Once again, this is our major compounding question for the entire period of this session. So what is that very hard connectivity decision your organization has had to make, and what made it very hard? So we'll also dive into some more specific questions. There's 3 of those, and I'm going to request us to bundle up in about 2 groups, since we're not very many, just maybe that side, then this side, and then have our 2-minute discussion around these questions. And then we can just have a volunteer from each of the sides to come through and share those with us. But while we are at it, we have some survey forms in the seats that you might have come across for some of you. So I request you to please fill out those if you can. It's just something to do with our connectivity initiatives and just trying to gather and understand where you're operating at or what you currently have at stake. So 2 minutes, 3 minutes, bundle up, then just respond to those, then nominate a volunteer from each of the groups to share their perspectives. Thank you.
And I think maybe gather with a couple of people that are sat right next to you, because two groups might be quite large for this room. So if you just speak to the people that are sitting right next to you and think about these questions in the context of your own work. Don't be shy.
Thank you.
You don't want to chat?
Yeah. You want to join?
Oh, you want to join? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Where are the sticky notes? But most work.
So there were two questions. The first one was the health physician.
The first one was what was the really hard decision that you as an organisation had to make regarding
So you first touched
connectivity?
on that.
Yeah, you can tackle that and then think about these as kind of points within that one.
Okay, so these are the prompts to make.
Yeah. Do you want me to put it back to the previous question? Yeah? Yes. So the big question that we were looking at that was on the previous slide was talk about a time when you've had to make a really hard decision regarding connectivity. And then these three questions are kind of prompts, to feed your discussion on that. So think about times when you've had to make a hard decision. And we can put that question back up on the screen as well.
So the question that you're seeing on there is like the overarching question, the umbrella of it all. Then the three other specific ones that we'll be responding to.
Time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe let them have another couple of minutes. Okay, I can see everyone's deep in conversation, but I think we're going to be moving to asking you all to feedback. So finish off your reflections.
Any group that's ready, you can just. Are you putting your hand up? All right, I think we've had some time to reflect in our little groups. So I'm happy to hear about 2 or 3 reflections from any of the groups. Any volunteer to go first? Yes, please.
So Mitra from Natural Innovation and Frugal IoT, and in a past life, I co-founded the organization that brought connectivity to the CSO sector in Africa, APC. So connectivity questions have been part of my life the whole time, and I think the biggest connectivity question was in my last organization where we were doing PAYGO in Africa, and the decision was, do we rely on GSM, which is what our funders wanted us to do, or did we build for an offline first environment, which is what we knew was going to work, bringing energy access, because energy access overlaps with comms access. If you don't have energy, there's a good chance that you don't have cellular coverage at your home.
Thank you for that one. Yeah, donor compliance is always a major feature of these discussions, isn't it? Donor-induced failure. Love it. Monica, who's next?
No, so it would be interesting to see how you managed to strike a balance between what they required and then what you had to do. Interesting. All right, anyone?
Oh, yeah, we have a contribution from online. That's great. So we have something from Sween Shager, and we don't have an organization. One of the hardest connectivity decisions our organization had to make was balancing reliability, cost, and scalability when setting up connectivity for offices and shared services. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much, Sween, for contributing from online. If others have things that they want to contribute from online, we'd love to hear them as well. Thank you.
I'm Lars from BO Systems and also the DHIS2 team in Oslo. I just want to draw from my experience sort of designing the DHIS2 Android application that's used for data capture and analysis mostly in rural settings, right? And we have been battling with this connectivity issue for a decade now, I would say. And I think we just come to the conclusion that being completely offline for like distributed data capture doesn't really work, because in the good old days, people had to sort of capture data locally. They had to shut down the clinic for 3 days, go by motorbike to the capital, and then submit their data, which doesn't really scale well. So we have been developing solutions that work offline, but then require internet occasionally. So they actually sync your data, receive the latest forms, and so on. And then automatically sync data when connectivity is back. So, but of course, like allow for completely offline data capture and also now analysis of your local data while being completely offline. And this allows people to, like community health workers and outreach campaigns for immunization, for example, to go out to the villages, do data capture, do immunization, do data capture completely offline, go back to their office, and then sync data back up to the central server. So that model has been working out quite well, but that's been many years of trial and failure, I would say.
Fabulous. So combining online and offline data collection approaches. We've had energy consumption, we've had donor compliance. Do you want to take one maybe from towards the back of the room before we just move to the next part of it?
Anyone else?
Hello. I mean, that's a general problem across a development sector to really choose a product that can actually fit the beneficiary, right? So, and typically when I was part of smaller nonprofits, when we really need to make a decision on products, and so we always keep people first, right? So we think about the people whom we are going to reach. Are they in a position whom we can connect online or offline? And as he said, so I personally always look for a solution that's hybrid, right? Which can be online when possible, and offline it should be able to collect data, right? So that's the kind of thing. But more than connectivity, we also look for the product which can be maintained internally, right? Because it's not just about picking the product with the connectivity or offline feature, but we also look for a product which can be maintained internally, because the cost of implementation could be very less compared to the cost of maintaining a product. So all these things are considered, and then we pick a product based on that kind of scenario. So it's always a use case model, right? Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, definitely sustainability and some of the difficulties making decisions when you're in an emergency context, for example. So we're going to move on to the super extra interactive part where everybody gets to stretch their legs. So this is our gallery walk, and we're going to dive into a little bit more detail on some of these topics that you've been talking about. So we have here 5 different flip charts around the room, which we would love you to contribute your thoughts to. So we have one that is focused on last mile access, so reaching those people in the most difficult to reach contexts. We have one around internet shutdowns and political risks and how to navigate those. Vendor dependencies, getting very dependent on companies and the difficulties with some of the reputational risks, some of the companies that may, of course, Starlink, getting dependent on Starlink is what we're talking about here as well. And obviously, working with a company that is such an enemy of our sector in many ways after what happened to USAID, thinking a little bit about that. Then budget, procurement and planning horizons, so some of the kind of more operational elements that you think about when it comes to connectivity, and then staff capacity as well. So if people could hop to their feet, everybody stand up. And we have pens, don't we? Monica, do we have pens in the room?
I hope everyone has a pen.
We have pens and we have sticky notes. And so if you wouldn't mind circling around the different flip charts with the different topics on them, and then putting on there some of your own experiences of what's worked and what's not in those particular categories. Building on some of the things that you discussed just now, feel free to chat to your neighbours as you go around as well. And I think we've got maybe like a couple of minutes per station or something. So get to the station, get your thoughts up there, and then continue round. Anything you want to add to this, Monica? Because you're the...
Maybe I just have some markers, so we might have to keep our handwritings really tiny. So if you need one, you can just pick from me. Yeah, like Esther said, we'll just revisit all the 5 sections and then be able to leave our sticky note on there. And then we'll see how to speak through some interesting ones. Yeah,
Perfect.
so
All righty. On your marks.
please feel free to start from any side. Just spend about 2 minutes on each station, then move to the next one.
And over here, we really want to hear your thoughts on vendor dependency. So please step this way.
Oh, all right. So let me let you know what exactly you'll be responding to in the 3 pillars. So what does this challenge look like for you in your particular context? For example, last mile, what is your experience? What are you dealing with in your different contexts? And the second one would be, has your organization tried to solve this? Then what exactly happened with whatever solution you might have tried to make use of? Is that clear?
Come on.
Yeah.
You know you want to.
What does it look like for you when it comes to vendor dependency? For example, are we having the HQ people who are taking care of standardization, sending through equipment for us, or do we have local vendors in place and we are able to actually locally procure? And what are the challenges with whatever arrangement you have in your particular organizations?
Does it mean that in all of those areas you're putting 2 sticky notes, what has worked and what has not worked?
Yeah, challenge and then how you approach it. Thank you.
Don't feel you need to have the full solution here. You don't have to have had the full answer. It can just be things that you've experienced personally. Some of the dilemmas that you've come across when it comes to organizing connectivity in your own organization. Can see some people writing, but less walking. We have a very diligent group in the room here, Monica, hey? Look at them all scribbling.
we have the vendor dependency station this side, and then budget, procurement, and planning. And then the other three on the other side. So feel free to just move across.
And feel free to talk to your neighbours as well. How you doing, Bill? Scribbling away? Got some good ideas? Excellent. Thank you, Liz, for your thoughts. Thank you for putting your thoughts up on the gallery. I think we only have a couple more minutes, right? Yeah, for people to get their thoughts up. So everybody do as Liz and the others have been doing and get your thoughts up on the flip charts. Thank you, Ziad. Right, so having got started a little late today, we only have a few minutes to wrap up this session. So thanks for getting all of your ideas up here onto the flip charts. And if you wouldn't mind going back to your seats, and we're going to take some thoughts from some of you. Alrighty, so back in our seats. As you can see, we call it voluntelling people. They're going to speak to the group. So I've just wandered over to Liz over there to ask her if she wouldn't mind getting the ball rolling to feedback first. Some of her thoughts that she's added to the board, and then we'll do a quick round of a few people to feedback. What we'll have to do, I think, is put all these thoughts from these flip charts into some kind of document and send it round to people afterwards, if we can find a way to get that out to you, I think, so that you can see all the things that everybody has added. Liz, do you want to start the ball rolling with some thoughts from your flip chart?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. What I've put up there, it's from last mile access. And I think for Africa for the longest time is on the use of satellite technology, or from the back days when we had the very big VSATs, and negotiating the government relationships in bringing those equipment in country. I think that has continued. even right now, with Starlink coming on board, and of course, many people expecting to get connected easier, but still the governments are still gatekeepers, and some of the countries, like even Ethiopia, have not even had Starlink. There are some countries saying do not even go beyond these boundaries for that. The same has also happened even for the internet shutdown, because the same satellite has always come in as a solution for most of the times. In some countries, you've had to use VPNs, and sometimes it's not the very good, or rather the approved VPN solutions that you would have in your organization, but just something to get that work. The satellite phones for during internet shutdowns and also political risk. I think the other thing I also put in there was on the vendor dependency and technology trade-offs. And this is the struggle always has been, what does HQ say we should be using? Whether it's the traditional tools, whether it is connectivity, but those still remain a struggle right now for the continent. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Liz. And I'm really glad you've mentioned customs as well, because I know that was a huge problem, like specifically for the Myanmar response last year, for example. Lots of difficulties getting equipment in. Monica, do you want to choose somebody or a point to?
Something caught my attention on that end,
Yeah.
budgeting. Someone wrote that you could share internet with organizations, like other organizations. So I would like to hear from someone if they've had to do that before, and then how do they split the budgets? Is there a conflict around bandwidth and how much another organization is using in terms of the staff capacity or the number of people they have in the field or whatever office location, and how that has worked for you?
Yeah, who was it that wrote that question up on, wrote that point up on the flip chart to do with sharing connectivity between organizations?
I can.
Oh, Martin. Woo. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks. I'll just amplify the voice, the point, as much as I did not write, but as Save the Children, I think we've really encountered that. And the harsh reality is that with the executive orders, we had a lot of office closures, so we had to sit with consortium government offices. And also we've had to co-share spaces with other agencies like World Vision, and the list goes on. So there are two things. So the first one is ourselves usually have the internal bandwidth, how much someone is required to be able to work. But again, it also depends on whether you're the prime or the sub. So at times you just have to go with what the other organization is giving. And then we've also been in a space whereby, especially with the internet shutdown, where we have to negotiate with AU or the UN agencies so that they're able to host maybe 5 or 10 or the executive leadership team within the country office at the surge of the internet outage. So it's usually a give and take. It depends with the capacity. For instance, if there's a total internet shutdown in Tanzania or in Ethiopia, then it depends. Are they using VSAT? And if yes, then how much are you able to give and take? And then number two, it also depends with your systems. How hungry are they in terms of the bandwidth requirement and such things? And then number three, also the number of staff. And then in terms of the costing, it depends on the hosting model, because at times you might charge an admin fee that covers that. At times just pro bono, maybe it's already covered by the funding structure. So it really depends, the variance. But it's something that's really happening, and especially with the office closures that we are seeing, it's a harsh reality that most agencies have to deal with. Yeah.
Interesting. So you've definitely seen that becoming more of an issue over the past couple of years with all of the funding cuts. Great. Okay. So I think we have time for one more person to feedback. If anyone wants to raise their hand, or I can pick somebody. Yeah, please.
Yes, just to share in this, something that we had experienced in Burundi. Yep, exactly. Yep. Okay. In fact, we are providing some technical assistance to the NMCP in Burundi, the National Malaria Program Control, and we have to distribute the bed net. countrywide. And we face the issue about the last mile regarding especially power issue, even though we have some Starlink tablet, some Starlink terminals, you know that there is no battery built in. Unfortunately, with Starlink terminal, and we have to find a way of power them. And the only way we succeeded to do it is to use the car battery. Yeah, we have to find a way of plugging the car battery into the Starlink terminal to be able to power the terminals. But this is something maybe as network you can take it up to Starlink. They need to provide more terminal with battery capability, built-in battery.
That is incredibly resourceful. Thank you for sharing that as well. So we were going by the clock down here, which was suggesting that we only had a moment left, but do we actually have another? We have another 5 minutes. Okay, great. So no, that's cool. So if other people do have points that they would like to contribute, I saw your hand raised over there. It would be lovely to hear from you.
Yeah, the point I made on the internet connectivity is we're not just talking about laptops and mobiles and things like that. We're also talking about devices. And connectivity for devices is also a crucial thing in many of the spaces we're in, where we have different sets of choices. We'll be running low bandwidth, things like LoRa and GSM, and that there's a lack of proficiency with those technologies in the sector.
Thank you for that. Does anyone else want to come in on that particular point? Because that relates to the staff capacity section that we have up there. Did anyone else talk about staff capacity on any of the points that they put on there? No? All right, who am I going to ask to contribute? Bill, I see you there. Would you like to contribute some points?
Thinking about staff capacity, but happy.
That's all right.
Yeah, hi everyone, Bill. So no, just maybe to add on to, I think, to the internet shutdown debate, and just to say that I personally experienced that. So I was in a country where we went for like 6 good days with a total internet, shutdown. And the feeling, I think, as you can imagine, is, exceptionally really bad. Yeah. So I think what I wrote down on that is that internet shutdowns requires sustained multi-sectoral, kind of like advocacy efforts from, I believe, each and every one of us, because I think you'd imagine that being in a country that has an internet shutdown comes with a lot of other threats, right? Life-threatening related issues. So I think sometimes you depend, other bodies not in that particular space, right, to help to raise the voice and amplify it as much as possible. So I think for me, I still feel that, yes, there was a lot of, during the time, I think there was a lot of international organizations, institutions that, kind of like spoke about it, but it then died. So right now, I don't think everybody is talking about it, and we continue to see it in other countries. Yeah, so it happened in my country, and then a few months later in just a neighboring country. So it's kind of like really become a norm. And I think, we require, I think, I'm not saying that people did not help, people did not voice out, but I think it has to be sustained in many ways and forms. And I think these are discussions that we need to have, because being IT practitioners, if we operate in a world where countries can go without internet, then pretty much we don't have work to do, right? Because we people are not connected, and we are IT, people. So I know if you haven't felt it personally, it might not really resonate, but just try to think for a minute, if you went for like 2 minutes, even or 5 minutes without, access to your phone or computer, so I'll just leave us with that question. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. And Access Now, I don't know if you've seen their reports, but they've been doing some absolutely incredible work around internet shutdowns. So if you haven't seen those, please do look at them. Raise some interesting questions around sovereignty as well, and what are organizations' rights to go against what the government wants to do in a particular country regarding internet connectivity. Monica, did you want to?
I think those are wonderful reflections. We still have a couple of minutes, so if anyone has any open-ended question or something you'd like to get back to NetHub on, please feel free to let us in before we get into this very interesting bit about the NetHub connected community we have in place.
Anyone else want to make another point? We didn't hear from many ladies, apart from Liz. Thank you for representing, Liz. Anyone want to come in? Oh, yes, please. Not a lady, but that's okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the challenges that most organizations, from the humanitarian aspect,
Yeah.
most organizations have gone through over the past 2 years. And one of the things that, from experience, we've seen is that there's a reluctance in investing in training and capacity building, because this is a time when a lot of priority is being put in exactly what the organization is about. And one thing that we've tried and sort of a little bit works is for capacity building, because technology is also moving and adapting on the new things that are taking place has been happening not proportionately across countries. So you realize that one country is far above the other because of different issues. So one of the things that we've managed to do is to try to look at promoting staff exchanges across countries or across field offices, so that the staff are equipped in a way that when this technology comes into the areas, at least they have some knowledge at par with what the others are doing. So that's also something that it cuts cost, but then again, it promotes some of the things that are progressing in different areas.
That's very interesting. So you're tackling the digital divide even within your own organization to some extent.
Thank you. So I think I'll just speak on the internet bit or shut down for last mile access. So we had experienced challenges when it came to the digitization. Devices were able to collect the data. However, due to no internet connectivity, you were not able to synchronize those data to be visualized on the dashboards. What we had to do to salvage this was we did 2 days in, 2 days out. That means we provided buffer devices that were sent to those hard to reach areas. So the devices that were used for the first 2 days were sent to town where there was internet connection, and buffer devices were sent in for them to use for the subsequent days. So we kept doing an exchange to be able to synchronize that data and visualize it on the dashboard. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Very relatable issues. And then I like the concept of the staff exchanges. I know there's some organizations that already do that, move staff to another country office, then just try to match and mix the level of capacity. So does anyone else? We can take one more.
Yeah. Thank you. I think one of the there was a point of what has worked. So I think one of the biggest problems that we have as organizations is that we are trying so hard to let me say to run with the time. So another organization does this, you have to match it. You have to go there. You're trying your best to be in the same power with other organizations. What has worked for us, I think, is we have cut back. We have decided let's just hold the horses, do what is possible, because let's say like I am in the telehealth sector. We have tried the video conferencing, we have tried the real life consultations, but sometimes we see it takes a lot of bandwidth, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of manpower. So we got back and said, text-based consultation work, asynchronous type of consultations work. So let's start there. Let's cut on trying our best to try and match up the others and try our best. And now let's start working with what we have currently. And I think it's working rather than always running with what is coming next. Thank you.
That's great. So really trying to make decisions about the digital products that you use based on the bandwidth that they're going to consume as well. Great, thank you. So I think we are now drawing to a close in terms of our time. So thank you so much for all of your insightful contributions. And thanks for bearing with us as well while our colleague Steph was not here to join us today. We'll definitely be taking all the points that you've put on the flip charts and synchronizing those into some kind of document to share out to you all. It's been really interesting hearing all of your kind of specific insights. So we definitely want to take some more of those from what you've put there on the flip charts. This is just some information. It's not specifically connectivity related, related to NetHope. If you know NetHope already, we're a membership organization. We have lots of our members are in the room actually. Hello, Martin, Bill. Our board member Liz is here. So we're a membership organization. We have 67 INGO members. And this is about our new community that we're building currently, which is called NetHope Connected, which is for smaller national and subnational organizations as well. So there's an opportunity for those smaller organizations to join in with NetHope too. If any of you are from those smaller organizations or know other organizations that would like to get involved, please do pass that information on to them. You can also visit our exhibition stand downstairs to find out a little bit more about that. So thank you so much, everybody, for all of your insights and all of your attention and your discussions. And we look forward to seeing you around the conference.
Thank you. See you around. And in case you have the survey forms and you've not had a chance to fill those out, please feel free to just come by the booth, then you drop them over whenever you're done with them. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day.
Apologize to Nate, didn't send me